This morning, I have came up with 10 different messages, and I knew what I was going to preach on, but it was like, okay, Lord, is this what you want me to preach on? So I would look at something else. Well, then I would say, okay, Lord, things just aren't coming out the way I want it to go. Well, even last night, I still was debating. You know, I knew what I wanted to preach on, but it was like, all right, Lord, is this what you want? And I kept on saying, Lord, just give it to me. So I'm going to show you my notes. That's my notes. So if everybody would turn to 1 Samuel 17, that's where we're going to start at. And that's the only place we're going to be is in that chapter. It's 1 Samuel 17. Charlie, can you pray for us real quick before we get started? Amen. If I had a title to this, it would be, if not me, then who? The story that we're going to be talking about is David and Goliath. But I'm going to talk about is really the four people in the church. What I feel like the four people in the church we have. Even though on this I have 5 people, one person, one of them is 2 people, the same thing. But in 1 Samuel 17, it says, Goliath challenged. Now the Philistines gathered their armies to battle, and they were gathered in Sokoah, which belongs to Judah, and they camped between Sokoah and Azekah and Ephidim, big word. Saul and the men of Israel were gathered and camped in the valley of Elah and drew up in battle array to encounter the Philistines. The Philistines stood on the mountain on one side, while Israel stood on the mountain on the other side, with a valley between them. Then a champion came from the armies of the Philistines named Goliath, from Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. He had a bronze helmet on his head, and he was clothed with a scaled armor which weighed 5,000 shekels of bronze. He also had bronze greaves on his legs and a bronze javelin slung between his shoulders. The shaft of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and the head of the spear weighed 600 shekels of iron. His shield carrier also walked before him. He stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel and said to them, "Why do you come out to draw up a battle array, and I am not the Philistine, and you servants of Saul? Choose a man for yourself and let him come down to me. If he is able to fight with me and kill me, then he will become your servant. Then we will become your servant. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then you shall become our servants and serve us." Again, the Philistine said, "I defy the ranks of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together." When Saul and all Israel heard these words of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. In our church, like I said, we have 4 people. We have what I call the pew sitters. Those are people that come in And their idea of church is come in, sit in a chair, hear the message, and once that last amen is said, they leave. Unfortunately, there's churches that have those people. Our church, we're very blessed to have a church of people that want to serve the Lord. But we've been to churches that, I've been youth director at churches, I've been music director at some churches that, there were people who came in whose idea was, I'm here, bless me. If the pastor said we need volunteers for something, if we need this, we need this, they never volunteered. Their job was just to be in that chair. Now, in saying this, I'm gonna say something to everybody. If I say something and it offends you, if I look at you and you think he's talking to me, I'm not. If I look at you, I'm talking to someone on the other side of the room. So, just but we have a tendency of many pastors have said that 10% of the church does 100% of the work. And that's sad to say. But I know we've all been to churches that you've seen that. 10% of the church did 100% of the work. And that's sad. I think our church, we have a helper's heart. Pardon me if my throat's tickling. We love to minister to people. We love to see people get blessed in this church. We're a rare church. I'm not gonna lie to you, we are a rare church. Because, like I said, most churches that me and Vanessa have been to, I'm sure y'all have been to, you've seen I go up and shake someone's hand. Well, Brother Tony didn't shake my hand today. I'm sorry if I didn't shake your hand, but there's so many times that we put more emphasis on what we think needs to be done compared to what actually needs to be done. And I'm not going to tell you this is going to be a long sermon today because I don't know. And then we have what I call the thinkers. So come down to verse 20. So David rose early in the morning and left the flock with a keeper and took the supplies and went to Jesse and commanded him. And he came to a circle of camp while the army was going out in battle array, shouting the war cry. Israel and the Philistines drew up in battle array, army against army. Then David left his baggage in the care of the baggage keeper and ran to the battle land and entered the order to greet his brothers. As he was talking with them, behold, the champion, the Philistine from Gath named Goliath, was come up from the army of the Philistines, and he spoke these words, and David heard them. When all the men of Israel saw the man, they fled from him and were greatly afraid. The men of Israel said, "Have you seen this man who is coming? Surely he is coming up to defy Israel, and it will be the king will enrich the man who kills him with great riches. He will give him his daughter and make his father's house free in Israel." Then David spoke to the men who were standing by him, saying, "What will be done for the man who kills this Philistine and takes away the reproach from Israel? For who is the uncircumcised Philistine that he should taunt the armies of living God?" The people answered him in accord with this word, say, "Thus it will be done if the man who kills him." Pardon me. We have the thinkers in church, the ones who come up with ideas. I think we need a women's ministry. I think we need a Sunday school for the kids. I think we need a Bible study. I think we need a new building. The thinkers are the ones who come up with the ideas, but what are you doing to do the ideas? Whenever I was camp director, and Ricky was one of my biggest helpers whenever I directed camps, you don't know how many people would come up and say, "I think we need to do this," or "I think we ought to do this." And I would say, "I'm all for it. Why don't you run with it?" "Oh, not me." "Oh, it's just an idea, not me." That's what was going on here. People sit there and said, someone needs to go out there and do this. And David was basically saying, who's going to go out and do it? And everybody was stepping back saying, "Not me." But you had the idea. Why are you not, I can't do that. Miss Tomato was doing prison ministry, and sometimes I feel like that we failed her. She had a terrific idea. She had and she ran with her idea. But so many times we thought, that's her ministry. What did we do to help her out? Well, I think if Miss Linda did this, it may help out better. Or I think if Miss Linda did this, did you do anything to help her? Did you do anything to help with the ministry? We've got thinkers. Pardon me, y'all. We've got thinkers, but they have good ideas. But their ideas are for someone else to do it. What? I'm sorry. And so, I've lost train of thought. I'm sorry, guys. It's not bad to be a thinker. It's not bad to come with people with the idea. It's not bad to, if you've got an idea, don't be afraid to come tell somebody this idea, your idea. But in the same way, if you have an idea, don't be afraid to run with it. Don't be afraid to step out in faith. Two of our women that I love, Payla and Jan, they're, for me, part of that 10%. If there's a problem, ask Jan or ask Payla, because they have a servant heart. They have that kind of heart. They want to serve. I've seen people that have came to Jan or Payla and said, I think this would be a good idea. And they kind of expect for Jan or Payla to run with it. Well, Jan and Payla have got, and I'm not giving y'all praise, but Jan and Payla have got other things on their menu right now. You know, they've got things. You know, it's not. I'm not saying don't come up with ideas, but think about your idea first. Will it benefit the church? Will it benefit the people? But more than anything, is it going to glorify God? We need a new building. I think we need a new building. Sorry, guys. I know we need to do a new building. Thank you. But what am I doing for us to get a new building? I think about it. I think about telling Ronnie all the things we need to do. I think about telling Charlie everything we need to do. But what am I doing personally to get us into a building? You know, well, Ronnie's the treasurer, he's the money, so, you know, doesn't matter. Still, if I have an idea, it's my responsibility. If I find a building, I don't call Ronnie up and say, Ronnie, here's this building. You need to call him up and find out how much it's going to be. Take the responsibility. You be the thinker. I mean, if you think of the idea, run with it. Yes, it's good to go to other people and discuss it. But if you truly in your heart feel like it's something that needs to be done, then do it. Okay, verse 31. David kills Goliath. When the words which David spoke were heard, they told them to Saul and sent for him. David said to Saul, "Let no man's heart fail on account of him. Your servant will go and fight with the Philistines." Then Saul said to David, "You're not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for you're but a youth, while he has been a warrior from youth." But David said to Saul, "Your servant was tending his father's sheep when a lion or a bear came and took a lamb from the flock. I went out after him and attacked him and rescued it from his mouth. And when he arose up again against me, I seized him by his beard and struck him and killed him. Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them, since he has taunted the armies of the living God." David was a doer. David saw that something needed to be done. David was just a boy. For me, I guess I imagine David being, 15, 16 years old. That's just in my mind, But David saw a need. And David said, if no one else will do it, why not me? You had all these grown men who've gone through wars and battles, and it took a young man saying, I'll do it. How do you think the other guys felt? And it goes on and it talks about that his brothers were mad at him, for stepping up and all that kind of stuff. I feel like more than mad at him, they were embarrassed because he was the youngest. And he was the one who stood up and said, if not me, then who? He prevailed. We have the prevailers. We have those who they see the goal, their mind is on that goal, and they're going to prevail. They're going to keep on going until they prevail. That's what David did. David picked up 5 smooth rocks. He had his rocks, and he had a sling. But David went into battle with the idea, I will prevail. Yes, I'm 6'2". Karen is 4 foot nothing. But Karen can be a Daniel against me. Tomato can be a Daniel against me. Just the size. He didn't look at the size. He looked at the circumstance. What can I do to in this situation? What direction do I do? Do I serve? Do I serve the Lord? Do I serve God? Do I, hey, we're having a meal next Sunday. I want to help serve. I think we need a children's church, and I'd like to be the one to try to get it started. Again, it may not be in you. It may not be something, and I'm not sitting there saying if you don't have an idea, not to use it, because you need to. You need to use your ideas, because the last person is a follower. And I'll get to that one in a second. But some of us are leaders. Some of us are followers. At one time, I considered myself as a leader, but I've became more of a follower. In a lot of ways, I would rather you come up with the idea, and then I'll help you with that idea. Prime example for me, and Ricky and Charlie and all that, back whenever we were out of the camp, I had this idea that we needed to have a men's prayer breakfast once a month. Excellent idea. Everybody ran with it. I made it to the first one. It's the only one I went to. My idea, everybody else ran with it, but I went to one. The very first one's the only one I ever went to, because it seemed like there was always something else that was more important than that men's prayer breakfast. But even though I feel guilty about it, they still took it and ran with it. I might have took it the first time and got, okay, we're going to meet here and we're going to do this. But I failed from there on. And I'll be the first one to admit I failed, because I let circumstance get in my way. The followers, once David killed Goliath and went out there and, for a better word, chopped his head off and everything, once the Israelites saw it, what'd they do? Anybody know? They chased after him. They chased after the Philistines. Why were they not battling before that? Because all of them were afraid to do something. All of them were afraid to take the lead. Afraid that if they took the lead, they may fail. David said, I'll take the lead because I have God behind me, and God will protect me. And God is going to take that stone. It doesn't matter where I fling it. If he's standing there and I fling it there, God's going to hit him in the head with it. That's what David said. If I sit there and I put it around my head and that stone goes backwards, the wind's going to catch it and put it right back in his head, because that's what David's idea was. David said, if not me, then who? And after the army saw it, they pursued. They pursued after the Philistines. But it took one person saying, if not me, then who? like I said, this is not, I'm very proud of our church. We have a church of people that are truly, they love the Lord. They love helping, but there's so much more we could do. There's so much that all of us see that needs to be done. Things that, you know, we love this building. There's a sign out there that says for sale. And I know a lot of us are worried now. What happens if it sells? Then God's gonna provide something else. I mean, if we have to go to Ricky's house and, you know, you know, God's gonna provide. Huh? Yeah, go to Ricky's for lunch and Karen can cook. Salsa. But there's a need. Everybody has ideas what we need to do. Everybody has ideas on what they would like to see. And I'm just going to be straightforward with you. It doesn't matter if you're 80 or if you're 8. God's got a purpose for you. No matter what you do, God has got a purpose. Your idea that you may have, you may sit there and think, it's a stupid idea. It's not a good idea. There is no stupid ideas. I'm just going to tell you, in God's house, there is no stupid ideas. If God tells you that you feel like that we need to have blue carpet, then you tell your deacons, we need blue carpet. Now, I may tell you it needs to be orange because that's my favorite color. But that's why we have 3 deacons, because they'll outvote me on orange, I guarantee you. But in closing, and like I said, I didn't know if this was going to be longer. We have, you have choices. You can be a pew sitter. You can come in, sit in the chair, get your God for that hour, and then leave, you know, which there's nothing, we need those people. A church is not built without that person. That one person sitting in that seat, this church is not built. We have the thinkers, the ones who, oh, I've got an idea. You know, our chairs, I love our chairs, which our chairs are blue. I love our chairs, but it sure would be nice if we could do a different color. Well, what are you going to do what are you willing to do it? Oh, no, not me. It's just an idea I have. Well, someone may run with it. Someone else may run with it, but they're not going to know your idea if you don't tell it. Don't be afraid to tell ideas. I'm not telling you that you got to do it. What your idea may be is for something for somebody else. Vanessa has started doing baskets for people that are sick, people that there's a young man that was in a real bad wreck. She's done up a basket for Lisa. It's an idea she had, and it's something she had even told me about. I'm not a basket person, you know, and I told her, if you think it's a good idea, you run with it. You know, I'll go buy the baskets because I know kind of what she would want, but you know, but if it's for a woman, you're out of luck. You're getting chewing gum, you might get some mints, you know. I don't know what to buy for a woman. I don't buy for my own wife. She'll sit there and say, I need you to go to the store and get this. She has to take a picture of it. Take a picture of it and say, this is what I want. Because if she sits there and says, I need an eyeliner or mascara and I need to be in beige, well, it's going to be beige. What I think is beige. Because there's beige and there's beige yellow and there's beige pink and there's, she just said beige. So guess what you're getting? What I think is beige. Then you put it on and it's not what, I catch it because that's not what I told you to get. It is what you told me to get. So, long story short, she takes pictures of things and sends them to me and says, this is what I want. Nothing else, this. Toothpaste. She's done it with me about toothpaste. I want toothpaste, and this is the toothpaste I want. 5,000 toothpastes that do the same thing. It's not the one she wants. So, anyway, and then we have the doers. Whatever it takes, I'm going to do it. And then we have the followers. And I dare say most of us are the followers. And, we follow, and this church is a really good follower. If something needs to be done, I'm more than willing to help out. But Jan, you've got to do the meals. You've got to figure out the meals. Apela, you got to figure out the decorations. Vanessa, you just got to look beautiful like always. Brownie points, guys. But it's not bad to be a follower. But we need doers. We need pupilers. We need thinkers. A church is not made unless you have all four. Anybody got anything before we close? We're gonna do an invitation, but Vanessa. Anybody else? Like I said, I didn't do this to hurt anybody's feelings. If you don't agree with something, I would rather you, not right now, but come to me after church and say, I don't agree with what you said. It's not going to hurt my feelings because. Oh, I'm sorry. And if you, like I said, if you've got an idea, if you have an idea and you feel like I've got this idea, but I can't do it, it's not in me to do it, don't be afraid to tell somebody the idea, because your idea may be somebody else's idea too. And, I love each and every one of you. And I know that if I came to any of y'all and said, we need this, or we need help with this, there's not a one of you that wouldn't be there to help out. But in the same way, don't forget that the church needs help. And each and every one of you make a difference. Whether or not it's sitting in a chair, or if it's, as Charlie has said before, if it's standing at that door and greeting people. If it's opening the door whenever Miss Linda comes in, I did. I sat there and watched Linda trying to open the door, trying to get in with her walker and everything, you know. And what did I do? I stood there and I watched her. I'm not gonna lie to you. I stood there and watched her. You know. Why? I don't know. It bothered me afterward because I thought, why didn't you go over there and open that door for her? All of us have something to do. You've just got to make your mind up what you want to be. Not a pastor's wife. She said she didn't want to be a pastor's wife. She would never be a pastor's wife. Well, guess what? She's a pastor's wife. She told me she would never be a youth director's wife. Guess what? She was a youth director's wife. She doesn't like teens. I love teens. She likes kids, little kids. I love teens. So don't say, I won't. Just say, I'll try. Yeah, don't say no, because you'll never know. You may be a pastor's wife. Let's pray.